We are back with some predictions, but a little bit different this time. This ain't the UFC today. We did the UFC yesterday. There's a fight night tonight, of course. Arnold Allen, Melky Costa. We talked about that. We gotta talk about this. You I almost said UFC. I'm so used to saying it. MVP Promotions MMA on Netflix. Jake Paul's most valuable promotions is having their first ever MMA event tonight on Netflix at I believe 6 p.m. is when the prelims start. And just like I do with the UFC, I'm going to break down every fight and give you my prediction on how I think each fight's going to go, who I think is going to win, what round they get it done in, etc., how they get it done, all that good stuff. Now, this one's interesting because there's a lot of guys I haven't heard of before. There's a lot of people that haven't fought in a long time, a lot of people that should be washed up. So it's going to be interesting to pick these. I had to do some research on some of these guys. This could be a total swing and a miss, or I could go just, 11 for 11, or however many fights there are. But I did my notes, as always, up a little early today. Of course, it was my day off of work, and I still woke up too early. So I thought, you know what? Let's get this video out now. I was going to do it yesterday. Got a little busy, but don't fear. The MVP predictions are here. Little rhyme for you, too. Let's go. All right. First fight. We got Chris Avila versus Brendan Jenkins. Let me find the notes on this one. Chris Avila. I'm pretty sure that's Nate Diaz's boy. Like, that's his buddy or something like that. They're always hanging out together. He's a boxer. He's like, I believe he's 8-9 in MMA. You'll see there's a lot of guys in here with some records that are rough because, this ain't the UFC. I mean, hey, I say that, and Cody Brund is just fighting tonight, so they got rough records over there too, am I right? But no. Chris Avila versus Brendan Jenkins, first fight of the night. Avila is a boxer. He's going to be looking to strike. I worry about his grappling. I would worry about his grappling if he was fighting somebody else, but he's fighting Brendan Jenkins. Jenkins went 0-2 in the UFC. He did some karate combat, some bare knuckle. He's done a little bit of like every combat sport you can do. Everything that all the side quests the guys do once they get cut from the UFC, he's done. He's done those. So he's done everything there. They're both going to be looking to strike though. They're both going to be strikers. They both, I don't believe, have the best grappling, but I do feel if it comes to the grappling, it's going to be Chris Avila's game. Not that he's good at it, but that he's just going to be a little bit better than Jenkins. And literally, the digging that I've done on this to decide that is that Chris Avila he trains and he's boys with Nate Diaz. And Diaz is, of course, a solid grappler himself, which we'll talk about later tonight. I had to do some interesting research, guys, because these aren't just regular guys you can go and find everywhere. A lot of their stuff might be regional scene stuff, and it's hard to get, ideas off of guys from the regional scene, with their fights in the regional scene, because they could be fighting cans, So they're, of course, going to look good. So it's really hard to tell once they fight at the next level. Is this the next level? Promotion-wise, yes. Opponent-wise, we'll see. But that being said, I believe it's going to be a striking fest. It's going to be a fun one. Maybe, hopefully, be back and forth. Chris Avila will be the better boxer for sure. You should expect a lot more kicks from Jenkins than you will Avila. Jenkins could use those to his advantage, maybe. If he could use his kicks right, I could see him getting maybe a decision out of this, being technical striking, but I don't think he will do that or not do enough. So I'm going to go with Chris Avila to get it done here in the third round. Third round knockout or TKO for Chris Avila over Brendan Jenkins to start off this MVP card. Again, man, this is interesting. I'm very excited to watch this card because it's so much unknown. Like, I'm curious to see what the production looks like, what the cage looks like, how some of these fighters look. Some of these big-name fighters haven't fought in a while. How are they going to look? I'm just very, very curious to see how this goes. So I cannot wait to watch this tonight. But yeah, first fight, Chris Avila, I feel he'll get it done. Third round knockout or TKO. Like I say, he's a better boxer. Probably a better grappler if they go to the ground. Has more outlets to victory. Let's rock with it. That's where I'm going with. We move on. Aline Pereira versus Jade Mason Wong. Now, both are strikers. Pereira, of course, Alex Pereira's sister. She's 2-2 in MMA. Obviously, striker first. Super long, tall, rangy striker. Does a lot of damage with her punches. Karate Combat World Champion. Has struggled in MMA. Like I said, she's 2-2. Her 2 wins are over solid competition. But, grappling, is kind of a question mark there. What's her grappling looking like? But I don't think that's going to get tested in this fight against Jade because Jade is also a striker first. She did a lot of BKFC. But when it comes to the striking, it's night and day difference. When it comes to technique, Pereira should this should be clean work, She should piece her up. She's taller. She's longer. She's, like I said, better striker. She's got more KO power. She can knock you out. I think this is a very easy fight to predict. Pereira's fought better competition as well. She's when it comes to MMA records, Pereira's 2-2, and I believe Jade is 3-2. So Jade has one more win. But again, looking at who they fought, looking at what they're better at, they're both wanting to strike. Pereira's night and day better striker than Jade. So I think this one's very easy to predict. I'm going with Eleni Pereira first round knockout over Jade Masan Wong here. You look at both of Pereira's wins. I believe they are both decision wins, but she's winning on the feet in both of those fights. She has the ability to knock you out. We've seen it in karate combat. But the thing is, against Jade, Jade is also a striker. So she's going to want to come in and try to land her punches too, which I believe is just going to... She's going to get caught doing so. She gets hit a lot in her BKFC fights as well. If she's going to get tagged in those fights, if she's going to get tagged by Eleni Pereira, there's no way she can last that long. Give me an Eleni Pereira first round knockout. I could even see like a little head kick or something. Could be cool. A little knee up the middle. Something slick like that. But yeah, Eleni Pereira, first round knockout over Jade Masan Wong here. Let's move on to the next fight. We go to the featherweights. We got Albert Morales versus David Moyan. I was saying it earlier. I believe that's how it's pronounced. He's a great fighter, though. We're going to get into that here in a second. We'll get into that here in 1 second when I find it. But this is a featherweight fight. Morales used to be in the UFC. Had a little stint in the UFC. He wasn't crazy good in the UFC. I don't think he was. I wouldn't even say he was good in the UFC. But he's been in the UFC, and he's been on a good run since he's been gone from the UFC. This guy, David here, he was on the Contender Series, and he lost to Tommy McMillan. Now, I've crapped all over Tommy McMillan. I don't think he's a good fighter, and I still don't think he's that good of a fighter. But David here almost submitted him, had him in that guillotine, but ended up losing that fight. Has also been good outside the UFC since then. So both guys are really good fighters, just not UFC level good yet or anymore in the case of Morales. So in this, I'm going with the youth factor here. I think David will get it done over Morales here. I think it'll be a fun. I think it'll be a fun fight though. It's a good test for both guys, especially for David against a veteran like Morales. Like I said, he had his shot in the Contender Series, didn't go his way, but he fought a guy like Tommy McMillan, who, say what you want about him, he's winning. So I don't think he's good, but he's winning. So hey, do your thing, brother. Yeah. Anyway, do your thing, McMillan. But yeah, I think David will. I think he'll get the win here. I'm gonna go with a decision, first decision of the night. I think he'll get them by decision. I think it'll be a fun fight, a good test for both guys. They'll push each other well, but I believe David will get it done by decision in this fight. Let's move up. Welterweight fight, man. Welterweight. Jason Jackson versus Jeff Creighton. Now, this one here, Jason Jackson, former Bellator fighter. Former? Did he just say former? Former Bellator fighter. Now, do I even got to break it down, bro? Bellator. I hate on Bellator. I can't stand Bellator. But remember, this all is full circle. Because last time I hated on Bellator, and I picked against a Bellator guy, who was that? It was Armasov. And what did he do? He went out and dominated Joel Alvarez. Armasov has one loss. You know who that's to? Jason Jackson. See how this all goes together now? So now we got Jason Jackson here. He had that run in Bellator. He beat Armasov. Now he's fighting Jeff Creighton. Jeff Creighton was on the Ultimate Fighter and went 1-1 on the Ultimate Fighter. And he's taking this fight on short notice. I don't like that for him. I do believe Jason Jackson will get this fight done. I should really read these notes more. It's getting to the point where I might not even need them. But we'll see what I said. Like I said, I believe Jason Jackson will get this fight done. He's a better striker for sure. So I believe he can keep it on the feet. He will do okay. He's not bad on the ground. He gets a reputation sometimes for being boring when it does go to the ground, kind of smothering and holding guys there. But Creighton, I believe, will try to take it to the ground. I don't think it's going to work out for him. Like I said, I'm worried about his gas tank. I'm worried about his cardio. Taking this fight on short notice. He never did that good. Like I said, he went 1-1 on the Ultimate Fighter. Now he's taking this on short notice against Jason Jackson, who is a better striker. I believe Jackson will get it done. Give me Jason Jackson a round 3 knockout or TKO via ground and pound over Jeff Creighton is what I'm going with in this fight. Again, man, very excited for this card. I love unknown stuff. I think that's why, when they did the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Like, it was cool just for the fight itself, but just to see how it was. I love the production and seeing how all that stuff is put together. I want to see what their promo packages look like. I want to see what their cage looks like. Who's going to be reffing this stuff? Who's going to be the commentators? What's the setup going to look like? Are they going to have a cool like stage walkout like Bellator would do, or are they just going to walk out normal like UFC does? I'm very curious to see how they do this. Is it going to be very boxing-esque, coming from MVP Promotions and Jake Paul and Netflix? A lot of questions I'm very excited for. But anyway, let's keep moving up the card. We got a catchweight bout here. We got Adriano Moraes versus I forget how to say, Nakuda is his last name, but he took this fight on short notice because it was supposed to be Muhammad Mokaev, which I'm so bummed he's not on this card. I would love to see Muhammad Mokaev fight, especially against Moraes. Would have been a good fight. Moraes, we know him. He beat he's former one championship champion, world champion. Beat Mighty Mouse. Beat Demetrius Johnson at one time. Also got kneed in the face by that beautiful combo from Demetrius Johnson as well. But he does have a win over Mighty Mouse. You can't just call it a fluke if you want. You beat Mighty Mouse, bro. That happened. Let me find my notes on this one. Like I said, short notice. And Moraes, he's an elite level grappler. He's a very good grappler. And Nakuda taking this on short notice. He's undefeated. But, man, I just don't think he's never fought anyone even close to this level. So I don't think this is respect to the dude for taking it on short notice. He's getting on a big stage, fighting a big opponent. So if he can pull it off and win, that'll be huge for him. But, bro, no. You're not winning this fight. Give me Moraes to get this done. Second round submission in this fight. Like I said, elite level grappling. He's fought great opponents. He's literally fought the best flyweight of all time and has a win over him. He's fought for big promotions. He's fought better guys who've been doing it longer. And he had a full training camp for this. I think there's too much going in his favor for me to pick otherwise. So give me Adriano Moraes by second round submission. We move up. Another welterweight fight. I'm not going to lie. I knew nothing about both of these guys right here. I had to do some digging on these ones. But, hey, that's what's cool about this card. I'm going to see new guys that I haven't seen before that I'm going to have to learn about. But anyway. What's his first name? Namo Fazil versus Jake Bobian. Both guys are knockout artists. They're both looking to knock you out. They both have knockout power, KO power. I believe Fazil's 7-1, 8-1, 9, something like that in one. Only has one loss. I think Babian's the same way, or Bobian. It's probably Bobian. I believe he's the same way, only has one loss as well, or maybe undefeated. Like their record's very close. Not a lot of fights in, a lot of finishes, a lot of knockouts. Bobian has a karate style. He's more of a karate style fighter, though. That's going to be the difference here. Or in the striking, like I said, they're both going to be looking for knockouts. Both have knockout power. But that's going to be, usually you see a lot of guys, when they do that karate style, their opponents will start slow because they got to figure that style out first. So that could play in Bobian's favor here at the start of the fight. I do believe Fazil is probably more battle-tested. And Bobian hasn't really fought anyone to the level of Fazil. Not that Fazil is some high-level guy. But I really feel like that karate style is going to give him some problems. I've seen most people I see are picking Fazil. But you know what? It's two guys I don't know a lot about. It sounds like Bobian's the underdog. They both got knockout power. They got a puncher's chance to knock each other out at any moment. Let's go with the guy that seems to be the underdog. Give me Jake Bobian here. Let's see if we can get it done. I think he can, and I think it'll be in the first round. I feel like if these guys knock each other out, it'll be in the first round. I think they're both going to come out hot, looking to get a finish. So I can see a first-round knockout. It just matters of who's getting knocked out and who's doing the knocking out. Give me Jake Bobian to do the knocking out over Fazil in this fight. This one, like I said, knew nothing about these guys going into it. That's what makes it so much fun. But that's what I'm going to rock with. We'll go with that. I'm very excited to see that fight because, like I said, I'll be very surprised if that fight goes to a decision. I think someone will definitely be getting finished, and more specifically, a knockout. That's it for the prelims. We move on to the main card. We see some familiar faces here, you UFC fans. Junior Dos Santos versus Rebelis de Spain, bro. Dos Santos at one time, one of the best heavyweights in UFC history. This dude could knock people out. He's huge. But now he's 42 years old. He did some like Jorge Masvidal's game bred bare knuckle MMA stuff. I want to say he was a champion down there. I could be wrong. I say down there because that was Florida. I want to say he was a champion down there at one time. I could be wrong, but I want to say that's true. Don't quote me on that. But anyway, he's taking on Rebellis Despain, known for knocking people out. He beat Sam Alvey, and he's a karate combat heavyweight champion. Cannot grapple at all. Very one-dimensional. All he can do is knock you out. Again, I feel that would be a problem if he was fighting somebody else. He's fighting Junior Dos Santos, who would be a better grappler, but he's 42 years old. This is going to be a striking matchup. Who am I going to pick in this? You got Junior Dos Santos, bro. Yes, he was one of the best heavyweights in the UFC, but come on. He's 42 years old now. He's fighting with Rebellis Despain, who has the touch of death in his hands. He's got an old chin. He's going to get cracked, bro. Pause. Give me Rebellis Despain, man. First round knockout over Junior Dos Santos. It sucks to see, but I feel like that's got to be what happens. I mean, if Dos Santos, unless he can just go straight to some grappling and some wrestling, but I don't see him being able to do that long enough to not get caught by Rebellis Despain. Dos Santos is just too old, man. He's too old. The game's evolved, even though he's not fighting a very evolved fighter in Rebellis Despain, but hey, it's just a bad matchup for him, I feel, for the old head here. So give me Rebellis Despain, first round knockout or TKO over Junior Dos Santos to start the main card of MVP Promotions. We move up right here. Parnasse versus Kenneth Cross, bro. Now, from what I've heard, I knew a little bit about him. I did some more research. I think it's pronounced Parnasse. I don't know. He's French. So maybe I should say it with like a Parnasse. Oui, oui. He's taking on Kenneth Cross. Kenneth Cross, kind of just a regional dude. I'm not going to lie. This is a feeder fight. Parnasse is very good. He's a very good striker. He's like a double champ in KSW. He's still very young. He's a good prospect in just the world of MMA in general. So this was a good snag, a good signing here for MVP to get him on the card. That's why he's on the main card. But yeah, this should be light work for him. He's a very, very good striker who can wrestle as well if he needs to wrestle. But usually he's probably not going to have to. He's just been starching people in KSW. I think he's going to do that here against Kenneth Cross. I think this one, not too hard to predict, So go ahead and give me a Parnasse. First round knockout or TKO over Kenneth Cross. Thank you, Kenneth, for doing the job. But Thunder. That's Kenneth Cross. He's going to strike me down. Anyway, give me Parnasse first round knockout or TKO. Cross, like I said, thank you for doing the job. Thank you for stepping up. Hope you get paid well. You should. Everybody on here is probably going to get paid more than everyone fighting on the UFC. That's hilarious. But anyway, first round knockout for Parnasse here over Kenneth Cross. I think that's an easy pick. If you just look into both guys, it's pretty night and day, lopsided, So easy work there. We move on. We're going into the triple header main event. Now, the rest of these 3 fights here, all 5 rounders. No titles, all 5 rounders. That's interesting. This fight here, though, Nate Diaz versus Mike Perry. This is very interesting because Nate Diaz, bro. We know Nate Diaz. One of the most overrated fighters. Hey. I'm just being real. Nate Diaz, we know he likes to scrap. We know he will scrap. He will indeed scrap. And he's got a guy that will scrap with him in Mike Perry. We know that as well. Nate Diaz, good gas tank, better grappler. He's going to act like he doesn't care, doesn't want to be there. We know. His last MMA win was against Tony Ferguson. Mike Perry, one of the toughest dudes, if not the toughest dude on the planet. MMA wasn't really a strong suit, but bare-knuckle boxing, my lord, is that his strong suit. This fight is going to be fun. This fight is going to be bloody. This fight is going to be a scrap. And there's 2 ways I see it go, but both ways ends with the same winner. It being 5 rounds. Mike Perry's going to come out hot like Mike Perry does. He'll probably win round 1. He'll probably win round 2. There's a chance he could win round 3. Nate Diaz is going to do Nate Diaz things. He's going to be laid back, cool, calm, collected, survive when he needs to survive, let Mike Perry gas himself out, and then look for the finish later in the fight. So I could see either a Nate Diaz late round submission or a Nate Diaz decision. I'm going with a Nate Diaz late round submission as late as round 5. I think this fight will be fun. I think it'll be, like I said, bloody. Both these guys can take damage and dish out damage, so it's just going to be an absolute fun fight. I think it'll be bloody. I think it'll be fun. But I think that gas tank of Nate Diaz is what's going to get it done here. Mike Perry doesn't have that same gas tank. He's used to having to swing for the fences, with the BKFC stuff. So give me Nate Diaz round 5 submission over Mike Perry. And by submission, I'm feeling like a rear naked choke or a guillotine. Nothing next level. Triangle maybe, but I'm feeling guillotine or a naked choke. But anyway, 5th round submission though for Nate Diaz over Mike Perry. Book it. That's gonna be a fun fight. That's the fight I think I'm the most excited to watch. Just 'cause I think it'll be the best like back and forth fight of the main card. There's some interesting fights, like more the unknown fights on the prelims, the guys I don't know too much about. Like I'm excited to learn about them. But guys that I know about, main card, big name fight. This is gonna be entertaining right here. Nate Diaz, Mike Perry. Probably will be fight of the night. But Nate Diaz is gonna come out the victor, 5th round submission. We move on. Co-main event, which I thought it was the other way around. I thought the co-main event was Nate Diaz and Mike Perry, but this has it as Felipe Lins and Francis Ngannou. Either way, they're calling it a triple header main event, so it's whatever. We go on to Francis Ngannou versus Felipe Lins, bro. Heavyweight fight. I haven't got to talk about Francis Ngannou, one of the best heavyweights in UFC history. Crazy knockout power, like the best knockout power ever of all time. Former UFC heavyweight champion, has beat crazy. There's that crazy knockout of Alistair Overeem. Beat Cyril Gane. That was to win the belt, wasn't it? Yeah, beat Cyril Gane. Ended up, the contract disputes with Dana White. Dana White doesn't like him. Dana White hates Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou, the reason John Jones ran away from the UFC for the longest time was because he didn't want to fight Francis Ngannou. We all know it's true, John. But yeah, now he's here. Well, I shouldn't say now he's here. He went over to the PFL for a little bit. One fight. I can't remember that giant dude that Ferreira, was that his last name? That big Brazilian dude, I believe, that he beat up and finished in the first round, which he's been showing a lot of grappling and wrestling. I say been showing, like he fights a lot. His last 2 fights over the span of like the past 10 years, Francis Ngannou, he's shown some grappling and wrestling, so obviously we know he can do that now too, but that KO power is always there. He had a stint in boxing where he arguably beat Tyson Fury and then got knocked out by Anthony Joshua. Now we're here at MVP Promotions on Netflix taking on Felipe Lins. Felipe Lins, bro, was like a journeyman in the UFC, not even at heavyweight. He was at light heavyweight. They did their weigh-ins yesterday. I believe Ngannou was like, I think they said 37 pounds heavier than Felipe Lins. Yeah, bro, this is a feeder fight. This is a jobber. This is enhancement talent. This is Hydrogen Bomb versus Coughing Baby 100%, bro. This is easy. You get Francis Ngannou on the card. You need to make him look good. You need him to look like vintage Francis Ngannou. That's what's going to happen. Give me Francis Ngannou first round, knockout, or TKO, most likely knockout, over Felipe Lins here. I mean, I don't see any outlet for victory for Lins, because like I said, Ngannou's been showing that he can grapple and wrestle a lot more lately. Again, lately, his like last, 2 fights in the past, like I said, however many years. I can't remember what year it was when he fought Cyril Gane. I think his PFL fight was, 2 years ago now? 2, 3 years ago? Probably 2. I don't know. It's all blending together. But, no outlet for victory for Felipe Lins over Francis Ngannou. Ngannou's better everywhere, I do believe, and he's a lot bigger. Like I said, Felipe Lins, kind of like Kenneth Cross. Hey, thanks for showing up. Hot dog and a handshake, brother. But no, they're probably getting paid stupid money. Like I said, everyone on this card is getting paid stupid money compared to the UFC guys. So, hey, interesting. And you got to think, the UFC, knowing that they're having a show at the same time, knowing there's going to be eyes on this in general just because of the name value and it's like, that unknown factor, and they come out with the fight night card that they're having with a cool main event, but that's like it. You would think they would try to do something a little bit harder, but hey, it is what it is. They're going to act like MVP Promotions doesn't even exist. I'm sure there'll be some post-fight press conference questions to Dana White. Hey, how do you feel about the does he even do post-fights for the fight nights? Probably not. He don't care that much. But I'm sure he'll get somewhere, somebody will get a camera and a microphone in his face and ask him about this card, especially Francis Ngannou and Ronda Rousey, 2 people that can't stand him. So yeah, anyway, I keep rambling. Francis Ngannou, first round knockout TKO over Felipe Lins in the co-main event. 5-rounder. It doesn't even need 5 rounds. I don't think it's going to even need 5 minutes. Main event time. Gina Carano versus Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey hasn't fought in 6 years? I wrote it down somewhere. I believe it's 6 years she hasn't fought. Yep, 6 years. No, 10 years, excuse me. I said 6 years. 10 years for Ronda. 16 years. That's what I was thinking of. 16 years for Gina Carano since these gals, have fought in MMA. Carano's only loss is to Chris Cyborg. arguably the women's GOAT, and I do mean that, arguably. Her only losses, let's not even get into Chris Cyborg. She's done a lot. Chris Cyborg, look at her accolades too. She's won like a women's title in every promotion ever. Ronda Rousey, obviously her only 2 losses, Holly Holm, that infamous fight against Holly Holm, and then Amanda Nunes. So they both have only lost to good opponents. But again, it's been 10 years since Ronda's fought. It's been 16 years since Carano fought. When they did fight, Carano was a striker first. Ronda Rousey, god-awful striker. Terrible striker. I will box Ronda Rousey in a boxing match and I would beat her. I don't care. I would beat her up. I don't care. I mean, yeah, I did MMA. I was a fighter. I trained. I had boxing matches. Boxing titles over my shoulder, My point is, Ronda Rousey sucks at boxing. We all know this. We've all seen the infamous shadow boxing of Ronda Rousey. She's a horrible striker. When she was in the UFC, she was a one-trick pony. Anyway, it was her. She's really good at judo, and she has a good arm bar. That's literally all she has, and that's all she had back then. But back then, that's all you needed. That's all she needed in women's MMA. And as much as I dog on women's MMA all the time, so of course I got to do a main event here. She would not last today's UFC at all. She's too one-dimensional. She would get pieced up on the feet by a lot of women that we don't even think would be good strikers, would beat the dog piss out of Ronda Rousey on the feet. So I'm just saying, it may sound like I'm a hater of Ronda Rousey. I am. I can't stand Ronda Rousey. I hate her personality. I think she thinks she's way better than what she is. Yes, she was a big, what's the word? I don't want to say founder. What is the word I'm looking for? I don't know. She did a lot for women's MMA, especially in the UFC. She brought women's MMA to the UFC. Was the first women's UFC fight was her and I can't remember the girl's name. Armbar the chick, whatever. But she's not that good. She's never really been that good. Let's be real. She's not been that good. When she fought the next level, Amanda Nunes, she got absolutely beat up. But again, luckily she doesn't have to be next level because she's fighting Gina Carano, who hasn't fought in 16 years. Her last fight was in 2009. I was 5 years old when her last fight. That is insane to think about. She was a striker first back then. So somehow, being off 16 years and coming back, she's still somehow going to have the striking advantage. That's crazy because she's fighting Ronda Rousey. But, both of them, for their time, like I said, pioneer. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Pioneer. They both were pioneers of women's MMA, especially Rousey in the UFC. But Gina Carano was never in the UFC. Like I said, the first UFC women's fight, I believe, was 2013. And Gina Carano was done fighting in 2009. She did all of her stuff other places, all the promotions I cannot remember. What was that one all the women fought for? Is that Invicta? Is that what it was called? I do believe. I believe she did most of her stuff there. A lot of the women did stuff there before they came to the UFC. Before the UFC even had a women's fighting in general. But yeah, Carano was big back then. Like I said, both of them now, you take them in their primes, put them in the UFC now, they would both get smoked. Let's just be real, because the UFC is the best it's ever been. I believe that not just about these two. I believe any champion that everyone calls, one of the greatest from however many years ago, you drop them in the UFC now, you're going to see how good they really were, and that's not very good compared to the now. So, hey, I'm just saying, that's why Sean Strickland is the GOAT over Anderson Silva. Get mad, but it's whatever. We move on. I keep rambling. Gina Carano, Ronda Rousey. Who do I think wins this fight? Ronda Rousey has the grappling advantage. Gina Carano has a striking advantage. I think this is just going to be as much as I hate to say it, because I want to see her get knocked out again so bad, I would love to see Ronda Rousey lose this fight. I mean, one of my most hated fighters of all time is Ronda Rousey. I hated her personality, like I said. I talked about it earlier. She dogs in the UFC all the time now. Then she went to the WWE and did the same thing. Like, bro, I'm a big wrestling fan. She went to WWE. I was like, hey, cool, that's Ronda Rousey. But she was still like, I'm better than everybody. I was like, first of all, in pro wrestling, no, you're not, because you sucked at it. You were not good at pro wrestling. You barely were good at MMA. Let's just be real. You know what I'm saying? And then she'd go and she would try to be better than everybody else, and always, they even did an angle one time. I think she was feuding with Becky Lynch. I'm going way off kilter here. And she was like, obviously, we all know wrestling's predetermined. I don't think I'm breaking anyone's hearts here when I say that. But she did a promo one time, and she was like, if this was a real fight, Becky, this wouldn't even be close. Like, I would... Bro, well, then what is this then? Like, obviously we know it's not, but you don't say that on pro wrestling television. You know what I'm saying? If you know the business, you don't do that. But anyway, Ronda Rousey can't stand her. Hope she gets finished here. It won't happen. I think Ronda Rousey will win this fight. I believe it'll be a classic Ronda Rousey performance. I think this fight will be sloppy. I think this fight will be ugly. I think it'll be hard to watch, honestly. But I think it'll be a Ronda Rousey first round submission. I think it could be literally the classic hip toss. Probably not as pretty as it used to be, but some kind of takedown. Gets Carano down, puts her or Carano down, and puts her in an armbar. Finishes the fight. I mean, like I said, Gina Carano, 16 years she hasn't fought, man. She's been doing like acting, like I don't remember. She was in some big stuff too. Like wasn't she in Fast and Furious? And I think she was in something to do with Star Wars too at some point. Like she was a legit actor, and now she's coming back just to fight Ronda Rousey. I heard she lost a ton of weight for this fight. I just don't. Literally, I wouldn't pick Ronda Rousey to beat anybody in a comeback fight nowadays. But then they somehow got her Gina Carano. So I'm like, all right, she's going to win. Like, that's the best they could have done for her was get her Gina Carano. So, yeah, I think Rousey will get it done, unfortunately, in the first round. Or she just, like, I don't know. I don't even see it. I don't even know. Like, this fight is so weird. I can't even think, like, picture another outcome. Like, I don't see one of her getting knocked out. I obviously don't see her knocking out Gina Carano. I don't see them going 5 rounds. I don't know. There's so much with this card that I can't even picture other stuff happening, but especially this fight. So I'm just going to give Ronda Rousey first round submission, probably an armbar. And oh my God, then I'm going to have to hear her post fight, how she talks about she's still the baddest and all the women are just trying to be like me. Bro, there's so many women right now that are so much better than you. All time better than Ronda Rousey. Like, her ego is just too big. I'm a D1 Rousey hater. I'm sorry. But I mean, if you're a fan of Ronda Rousey, no, you're not. No, you're not. Have you heard her open her mouth and talk on a microphone? No. You're not a fan of Ronda Rousey. No, you're not. You're not. Let's just be honest. She's disrespectful. She's egotistical. She's full of herself. And she's not even that good. She's a one-trick pony. Let's be real. But luckily for her, they threw her a bone and they gave her Gina Carano. But Gina, I'm rooting for you. Please beat up Ronda Rousey. Please beat up Ronda Rousey. I need it. I need to see it so bad. It was so satisfying watching Holly Holm head kick her and watching Amanda Nunes just beat her in circles around the cage. But I don't see it happening again, unfortunately. So yeah, Ronda Rousey, first round submission, probably an armbar, is what I'm going to go with over Gina Carano, unfortunately. But hey, it is what it is, and those are my picks for I almost said UFC again, bro. It's muscle memory at this point. Those are my picks for the MVP promotions. MMA 1, whatever they're calling it, on Netflix. Very interesting card. Very excited to watch this. Like I said, there's so much unknown that I can't wait to see how they do it, what it looks like. It should be fun. I will be watching that. I will be watching the UFC. I'm just going to be looking all over the place, watching all kinds of fights. Should be fun. So expect 2 recap videos. One, of course, for this card and one, of course, for the UFC Fight Night. Should be a good time. Check out my predictions for that. I posted that 2 days ago. Check that out. Thank you for watching this one. Like this one. Comment. Let me know who you guys think are going to win, especially the main fights, the main card. I think a lot of people are in agreement on the main cards. I could see people I think most people are picking Nate Diaz anyway over Mike Perry. I think the main card's not too hard to pick, but I could just see Nate Diaz just being an absolute turd, though, at some point, too, and just not caring as much as Mike Perry. Like, Mike Perry wants it more and ends up winning. But I don't know. It's Nate Diaz. He's a wild card. But anyway, yeah, let me know who you guys think are going to win. Keep subscribing. I'm over 100 subscribers. Pretty sweet. I think I'm at 107 right now. That's pretty cool to me. Like I said, it's actually very cool to me. I appreciate that a lot. So keep subscribing if you guys want to follow my socials. My content social, like my short form stuff, showtime.tv04 on everything. On everything, I mean YouTube, of course. I mean TikTok, and I mean Instagram. You can follow my personal Instagram, I.am_Connor Smith on Instagram. And yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned for the recaps of both these cards. And I will see you guys in those recaps.